Welcome back to Justice. It's time for my political panel. Dan Bangino, a former Secret Service agent, former NYPD officer, and Chris Hahn, a radio talk show host, former aide to Senator Schumer. Now, we're having technical difficulties right now with his signal. Chris may be joining us in a few, but we just as well start with Dan. Dan, thanks for being here. You know, Dan, what is going on in this country is a reckoning, not just in terms of the power differential between men and women and the ability of men to impose themselves on women who are seeking jobs, whether it's in Washington or whether it's in Hollywood. But what we're also seeing is a hypocrisy, not just in terms of one party criticizing the other party, but the rules are different, and they have been covering up the fact that there are findings against legislators in Washington, and we're paying for the verdicts. What do you think of all this?
Well, on that second point, this slush fund, this sexual harassment slush fund is an international, forget that, it's an intergalactic disgrace. I mean, this is, can you imagine, Judge, if this was a private company, right? A private company that had a little honeypot of money to pay off sexual harassment suits by some pigs in their company who decided to put their mitts on women, the shareholders would revolt. That's right. But here's the catch, Judge. This is taxpayer money. Yeah. Who are the darn shareholders? Us. We're paying off a bunch of pigs out there groping women, our mothers, our daughters, and our sisters with taxpayer money? No. This is a total disaster. Every one of them needs to be exposed. Every dollar needs to be accounted for, and every dollar needs to be paid back to the taxpayers.
Well, yeah, in my opening statement, I said, you know what? We either sue them, take it out of their pay, or take it out of their pension. I mean, the concept of making someone else pay for your sexual shenanigans is just absurd. But I have to tell you, Dan, even more than that, we have no way of knowing now whether or not any of these bad actors, I'll call them, have been found responsible on more than one occasion. So, with Conyers having one of the complaints paid out through his operating budget instead of through this slush fund for sexual perverts, it tells me that there may have been others and he didn't want to add to it. Do you think that one of the ways to handle this is not only to make them pay, but the term limits are necessary to stop these fools from thinking that they can just do whatever they want?
Yeah, I mean, these have really become lifetime appointments. Now, I'm always up in the air a bit on term limits, which surprises some of my conservative friends. I am for them, but with this caveat here, you do have to understand that where they've done research, Heritage and other groups like that, on term limits, they found out, Judge, that it does tend to empower the bureaucracy. Because just as people get a hold of what they're doing, the elected officials, they're out, and then the bureaucrats take over. But I can't disagree with you. They think this is some kind of lifetime appointment, like a sinecure here. And I think it changes maybe the brain chemistry. I don't know. I mean, I've gone up to Capitol Hill, and I can tell you there are very few good guys and women left up there.
But you know what, Dan? I really believe that there is a balance between the idea of keeping people who are experienced and getting, and not having people think that this is a lifetime job. But listen, my producers are telling me in my ear that we're not going to be getting Chris Hahn. So I'm going to do what Chris Hahn said, would probably say. And that is that, when you're accused of doing something against children, that's even more perverse than a settlement that's made for legal reasons, like Roy Moore versus Conyers. Talk to me.
Well, I love my ideological sparring sessions with Chris, so you'll be fake Chris for now, Judge. Listen, he's right. This is, if these accusations are in fact true, let's just, you're a judge, you're a lawyer. Let's point stipulate it. I'm not a judge. I stipulate that point. This is awful. Let's not, as a father of daughter, I have daughters. It doesn't matter. As a human being, forget the other stuff. It's disgusting if in fact true. My problem, Judge, is what's the darn standard here? The standard for Democrats seems to be this. Accusations are made, media defends, apologies made. Everybody wipe your hands. All good, fellas. Move along. Nothing to see here. The standard for Republicans is accusations made, Media pounces, blood drips from the fangs. The rear naked show comes on. The guy taps out. He resigns from the race, never to be heard from again. And a little hat tip to Ben Shapiro. He wrote a piece about this, and he said, "What do you wind up with then, Judge? You wind up with a bunch of sexual perverts who are Democrats because they never resign, and the Republicans resign immediately because the media said so." We need a set of standards.
For me, Dan, all these guys should go. Every one of you. You have a hostile work environment, gone. You have responsibility for sexual harassment, gone. And what amazes me is you've got this Representative Clyburn saying, even though there's a finding against Conyers, he's a good guy, let him stay. You've got this Senator Hirono, Hazi, or whatever her name is, Mazie Hirono. She says, well, he's a good guy. This is just a distraction. Then you've got a New York Times op-ed who says the next day after calling for Al Franken to go, she says, I adore Al Franken. I'm sorry I said that. This is rank politics. We got to get rid of all of them, Dan.
Yes, bingo, 100% correct. You scored on that one. But yes, we do have to get rid of all of them. But here's the problem. The Democrats are absolutely obsessed with power. Power matters to them. Morals and ethics go out the window when in your triaging of your needs, power is at the top of the pyramid. And one other thing, the reason they always attack conservatives, but they give their liberal friends a pass is liberals think conservatives are bad people attached to ideas. Conservatives think liberals are just people attached to bad ideas. There's a difference.
Does Al Franken step down tomorrow? Yes or no?
He better. He should.
All right. Dan Bongino, thanks so much. And the southern border on horseback. My exclusive trip is next. Today, family and friends and fellow law enforcement officers laid to rest Border Patrol agent Rogelio Martinez, who died on duty at the Mexican border. He was found with head trauma and broken bones in an incident that could have been an ambush and is still being investigated by law enforcement.